Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
Something that comes up, particularly when you're kind of trying to figure things out, is that there seems to be a conflict between the different types of advice and guidance you might get out there in the field. One of those conflicting pieces of advice, or what seems to be on the surface conflicting, is something you've even heard here on this podcast. One of the notions that we've discussed is to not be focused on the outcomes in terms of how you execute. And what we mean by that is when you look at things like the work you're trying to do, understand that the results are going to come in their own time. But that doesn't mean to disregard your impact on the outcomes you're creating, right? For example, and it's easy to use like the seed or some sort of farming kind of example or analogy. When you plant a seed, right, it's important to water it and make sure it gets adequate sunshine. Watering a different part of the garden is not going to help you achieve your outcomes, right? So if you plant a seed and you don't water it, good luck. It's not necessarily going to work to your objective. That said, watering the seed is also no meaningful guarantee of when that specific result is going to happen, day, time, that kind of thing. That seed itself may not be viable for other reasons. But when you start to put these things together, it looks like you have conflicting advice. Focus on the process, not the outcomes. And at the same time, focus on the outcomes, not the process. And so when we reconcile both of these sort of conflicting pieces of feedback, it's important to understand what we're talking about is time. Being in the moment and focusing your efforts on things like the process, and being present while you execute, being present while you do the things you do, is really important. This is how you do things like in weightlifting with a mind-muscle connection. This is how you are open and full of care and compassion when you talk about things like customer service or any of the kind of emotionally responsible jobs. All of that sort of work, all of that expression is a temporal, in the moment expression. Now, that said, it may not, any of those kind of expressions in the moment, in that period of time, may not be productive for your long-term goal. Being present and open in the moment in a customer service job when you want to go and, work in a mechanical field, for example, seems like those aren't the same thing. And it's quite clear that they're not. But as you're beginning the process of learning how to execute these things, understanding that you should have an end in mind and work towards that end and use the moments you have to create the best possible outcomes in the moments, should take some of that perceptual conflict out of the conversation a little bit, so that you can kind of both be in the moment and not focused on the outcomes, and at the same time working towards a longer strategic objective. If you have questions, comments, or concerns on this as you're moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out. I know it seems like conflicting advice, and you're going to see it in a lot of the literature and the lore out there, kind of in the different spiritual texts. So do be mindful that when you are trying to reconcile these sort of perceptually conflicting notions, that a lot of tension and stress and anxiety will come up as you're trying to figure out, am I overly focused on the outcomes, or am I not focusing well on the moment, or am I being strategic, or am I being present? As those sort of conflicting expressions arise, understand that they're going to probably create some tension and anxiety in the system. And you should find someone that you can talk to or work with in your social life, your lodge, what have you, that you can work through some of these issues with as they arise.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at masonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.